Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my week 8 injection of my Zepbound. This is my last 5 milligram injector that I have in this box right here. And we're going to talk about shortages and how I'm handling that today. We're also going to talk about constipation. So if you are not having constipation and all of that's really no issue to you and you're not interested, there are chapters down below and you can skip ahead to talk about the shortages and also my week 7 results. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first today, I'm going to start out a little differently and I'm going to cover my results today. I know this is what most people are here for anyway, and a lot of times they're skipping ahead down in the chapters below. So if you're tracking my progress, make sure that you are hitting the subscribe button as well as the bell. I really do enjoy hearing from you all about how excited you are every week when I post a new video, that you find them very informational. That really means a lot to me. I kind of take the time out of my normal creator work to do this on the side just to basically make a video diary of my own experience with this. I found that I was looking at a lot of people on YouTube trying to find information about Tirzepatide, about Mounjaro, about Zepbound, and Ozempic and Wegovy as well. And I was listening to a lot of experts that were not in fact taking the medicine. And with my experience, I have taken a lot of medicines and I have a lot of things go on with me that aren't documented clinical side effects. And so my doctor kind of just brushes it off that, oh, it must be from something else. But it, came up when I started that medicine, continued on the medicine. And then as soon as I stopped the medicine, it stopped. So I like to document for myself so that other people can also see, okay, wait, I had that happen to me. Maybe there is a link, and then they can start paying attention to that themselves. As always, with what researchers will point out to you, as well as any medical professional, is there can be multiple causations behind things that happen. So it might not be a direct cause and effect, but it might be something you want to pay attention to, like the constipation that we're going to be covering today. I am going to go ahead and jump in first, like I said, and do my weight results from week 7. So there's a couple of things I want to go over with you all. You know that I have an autoimmune disease. I take Cosentyx injections for this. Part of the reason that I am even on Tirzepatide is because of the amount of weight that I was gaining on Cosentyx on a monthly basis. Every time I take my Cosentyx injection, my weight was going up around 10 pounds a month, which is insane no matter what I was doing. This past Sunday, so today is Wednesday, this past Sunday I took my monthly Cosentyx injection, so I knew that I was going to kind of get the same result that I did last time. I think last time I had like a 0.4, 0.6 decrease, and I was very upset about it, like, oh my gosh, why did I only lose that much weight? So previously, I told you all that the Weight Watchers Clinic had asked me to start weighing more frequently instead of just weighing once a week, because they wanted to trend what the loss was, especially around these Cosentyx injections. And now I understand why they were asking me that, because earlier in the week, before I took my Cosentyx injection, so on Saturday, I was down 3.4 pounds. An additional 3.4 pounds during my week 7. So I lost, I think I was like 3.6. I'll have to look it up and put it up over here for you guys. So I think I lost 3.6 while I was at Disney. Then I came home, and within a couple of days of being home, I had lost another 3.4 pounds, which is probably more in line with what I thought I was really going to lose at Disney, right around like the 7-ish pound mark. So I was really happy. I was going, okay, I'm back on track. We're back from Disney. Everything's going good. Everything's going great. I'm down another 3.4 pounds. Let's just maintain that. The very next day, I took my Cosentyx, and guess what happened? Right? So now I am only down 0.8 pounds. So since I took my Cosentyx injection, I went from being down another 3.4 pounds to only being down 0.8 pounds. So that's something for me personally, taking an autoimmune injection on top of the tirzepatide that I kind of want to watch for. I also really want to talk to my rheumatologist about these results and see if maybe he can either test just leaving me on the tirzepatide to see if it helps with the inflammation, because we did go over last time some of the studies that are basically on animals right now, not humans, that help with that inflammation marker. But I do not mind being a guinea pig if it means that I'm not going to continue to gain weight. I almost feel like the Cosentyx injections are like counterintuitive of me taking the Tirzepatide at this point. It's like I'll lose and then it comes right back when I take the Cosentyx, and then I'll lose it, and then it comes right back when I take the Cosentyx. Another thing that I do want to cover, and this is why I'm covering what my results in week 7 were first. I have always said, even when I was on the keto diet, a carnivore diet, a vegan diet, that you need to not just pay attention to the number on the scale. And yes, I'm going to throw my Renpho scale up at you all again because I love it. It breaks everything down for me very nicely so that I can see where the weight is actually coming from. Is it water weight? Is it muscle that's coming off? Is it subcutaneous? Is it visceral fat that's coming off? You know, what is the real makeup of that overall top number? I'm very much a data numbers person, but you should also be measuring yourself. So I also have the Renpho measuring tool, which is really nice. It's automatic. You kind of wrap it around, hit a button. It will squeeze all the way up into your arm so that you can get an accurate reading. All you do is hit the little check mark button, and it will also push that number over into the same app that the scale pushes the number over into as well. So what I found interesting is when I was measuring myself, let me go and make sure that I'm giving you guys the right numbers. Not only are my arms smaller, yes, it's getting ready to be hot outside. I'm going to wear sleeveless. My wonderful double chin that I have right here is getting smaller as well. So I'm sure if you guys look back at my very first video, it's going to look more like this. Like it's definitely still there, but it's starting to get smaller because yes, I do measure from ear to ear to check that because this thing drives me insane. Even if I was like 100 pounds lighter, this thing will still be here. My waist has gone down 1.5 inches and my hips have gone down 3.3 inches. So I'm losing inches along with each one of these like little incremental losses, right? And so I was kind of okay this week for my week 7 results, only being down the 0.8 pounds instead of the 3.4 pounds that I was before the Cosentyx injection. I'm hoping, your fingers crossed, I'm going to be going to the Masters this week, and that is a lot of walking at the Masters at Augusta National. And so I'm hoping between the walking and really watching what I eat, drinking a lot of water, that I can get right back to where I was regardless of the Cosentyx injections. Again, Cosentyx does not say in any of their clinical trials that it causes any type of weight gain. There are some others that are, I believe, a TNF inhibitor. My mother takes the Simponi Aria. Hers does say that it can cause weight gain. What I take as a Cosentyx is a JAK inhibitor, JAK2, I believe, inhibitor. So they are slightly different, even though they do the same things. And I've previously been on the TNF inhibitors as well. I took Humira. I also took Enbrel. I gained weight on both of those as well, and I was on them a very limited amount of time because of other interactions and reactions that I had with both of those anyway. So overall, I'm kind of like cursing my autoimmune disease right now, but at the same time, I can walk. I'm not feeling inflammation across my whole body, and the Tirzepatide, the Zepbound, is helping me to lose the weight that all of that has made me gain regardless of what I've been eating. Now, another thing that I want to go over, because in a lot of the forums and the Facebook groups and questions that I get, a lot of people are still going over the nausea and vomiting that I covered last time. And if you are interested in that, there is a link down below to the entire series of all the weeks, and you can go back and look at the nausea and vomiting kind of recommendations that I went over there. One thing that I do want to say is that I really have noticed that if I don't eat anything that has any type of sweetness to it whatsoever, I don't have any of those side effects. And I did cover with my Weight Watchers Clinic team that I would like to stay on the 5 milligram if we can find it. I would like to stay on the 5 milligram if possible, just because each time I was having an injection, the very next night I was getting sick. Now, knock on wood and everything that is around me to knock on whatever kind of voodoo I need to do to make this not come back. My last injection on the 3rd week of week 7 was my 3rd week of 5 milligram injection. I took that and I did not have nausea and vomiting the next night. So that's great. I did get I felt like I was going to, but then it went away. And that's not because I was eating anything specific. It's just my body trying to get used to this drug. And that's why they say you do have to kind of taper up on these, and you need to sit on whatever dosage you're on as long as you are having any of those type of side effects, because you don't want to try to ramp up way too fast. Because if you've not gone back and looked into what it is the GLP-1 and the GIP and the Tirzepatide is doing in your body, as far as what it is affecting, in the vagus nerve going up to your brain, what the vagus nerve does, how it affects your digestion, how it can affect your entire body, basically. You do need to review that for yourself. I will put links down below that you can go and look at that. I am just kind of assuming, and I might be wrong, that most people are looking into what this drug is before they're taking it and what it is that they can expect it to do. I will say that neither my endocrinologist nor my Weight Watchers Clinic doctor did a very good job of fully explaining to me what it is that the drug would be doing within my body. They did just kind of tell me some things to watch out for, that most people are losing between 20 and 25, and some on Weight Watchers Clinic losing over 30% of their body weight, which is a lot more than what Ozempic and Wegovy. I think they're around 10. I think at most was 10% is what they claimed in their clinical trials. But as far as what it's physically doing to your body and what it is altering and what it is changing and what some of the potential even damages are, you do need to look at that and make sure that you are aware what you are putting in your body. Now, I am not going to tell you don't take this or take this. I am just simply going through what my journey is. I have decided to take it. I have decided that getting the weight off of me that can cause more diseases and more damage than taking it was in my best interest. Now, that was my decision. That was not a clinical doctor's decision, because they asked me for probably over a year to go on these drugs, and now I'm kind of kicking myself, wishing that I would have done it sooner. I had a really bad kind of taste in my mouth about oh, am I taking drugs away from people who really need this, who have diabetes? And I feel like now that they have separated the drugs from Mounjaro and then Zepbound, a lot of that has kind of trickled away. Obviously there is shortages, so let's get into shortages next. I do have a friend that I used to work with. Her name is Miss Rhonda, and I'm sure she's watching right now, so she can holler at me below in the comments. Miss Rhonda did tell me she's a week ahead of me, but she's on the Mounjaro side because she does have diabetes. I'm on the Zepbound side because I'm trying to do this to manage my weight so that I don't become diabetic. I have 2 little kids at home. I'm trying to be here longer for them. I want to actually see them get married, see them graduate college, see them have a family, be a grandma, that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to be, I guess what you say, proactive instead of reactive later. And so I understand that there is a global shortage of this. Eli Lilly needs to get on it. They need to find a contract manufacturer. I feel like the FDA needs to step in and say, hey, we're not going to put anybody else on this drug until you can effectively fulfill the prescriptions of people who are currently on it. Because there is nowhere in my area right now that has access to Zepbound. They are looking as hard as they can. The great thing about Weight Watchers Clinic, and I know that people keep saying that they're tired of me mentioning Weight Watchers Clinic. I am not sponsored by Weight Watchers Clinic. It is what I use. And these are documentations of what my journey is. So you're going to hear about Weight Watchers Clinic. One thing that was really great, of course, about them was, yes, they did get the prior authorization approved so that I could even be on this drug. Whereas my endocrinologist office was really struggling with that for like a month, maybe even a month and a half, couldn't get it done. The next thing that's really great about them is they sent my prescription to Lilly Direct, because I thought, okay, if I go to Lilly Direct, once it's available, maybe I'll get it. Lilly Direct, when I spoke to someone on the phone, told me that they are between 10 and 20 days out just to get your insurance information. That's how long their wait list is just to get on Lilly Direct. That is not 10 to 20 days to receive the drug. That is just to get your information to become on the list to be waiting for the drug. So when I sent that back to my Weight Watchers Clinic, I said, let's try my local pharmacy. Let's just see if they can get it. I did get something in from a text message in from my local CVS that says, hey, we've put this on order. Okay. So I called them and said, okay, does putting it on order, like, have you been getting it in? When you place these on order, how long is it taking for you to receive them? My pharmacist basically laughed at me and said that it was like popcorn, that they just kind of pop up here and there. They never know when it's going to come in. They never know how long it's going to take. It could be tomorrow. It could be a week from now. It could be 2 weeks from now. And so her recommendation to me was to leave it on order at CVS to see if it comes in, but then have the Weight Watchers Clinic team go ahead and shop around at other pharmacies to see if anyone has anything available and in stock. So that is the process that I am currently in right now. I am getting ready to take my week 8 injection, and then I have no more. I have no more injections after that. I don't have anyone telling me, hey, you can go pick it up here. Hey, we found some here. I did discuss it because I've seen a lot of people going ahead and titrating up just because they found like a 7.5 or a 10 or whatever is right above them available somewhere. I did talk to the Weight Watchers Clinic and tell them I do not want to titrate up. I want the 5. If I cannot get the 5, I'm willing to go back down to the 2.5, but I'm not really wanting to go up yet to the 7.5 because I want my body to have enough time to fully get used to this drug before I keep adding more, because in my opinion, that's where I feel like I'm going to get more damage, more side effects. It's going to take me a long time to try to recover after it. So I still, to this moment, do not have any access to what my next dosage will be. Also, in this case, what I discussed with my Weight Watchers Clinic team is that if I am off of the drug for 2 weeks, then I have to start all over again and go back down to the 2.5 and then start over and titrate back up. I'm not really looking forward to that. I am crossing my fingers, I'm crossing my legs, I'm crossing everything that can be crossed that somewhere someone finds a 5 milligram for me to continue on, and that buys me another month basically. I can only get 1 month at a time, so I can only get 4 injections at a time, and then each month Weight Watchers Clinic reevaluates what side effects I've lost or logged, how much weight I've lost, the conversations that I've been having with my care team, if I've been having any kind of issues, before they decide what prescription they're going to write next. I honestly have a weird feeling that I'm probably going to have to go back down to the 2.5 milligram. I'm not real excited about that, but I'm basically kind of just accepting it at this point. I really, really hope that Eli Lilly can get their booties in gear and, try to get this in. I am not interested in moving to another drug. I know the Weight Watchers Clinic has asked me, would I like to move to a different drug and try a different drug? My answer to that is no. I do not want to move to a different drug. I want to stay on Zepbound. I do not want a compounded drug either. I've seen a lot of people on the forums saying that, hey, I can't get access to it. I'm just going to start going locally to someone that I know that does compounded drugs. Again, compounded drugs are not regulated by the FDA. Their individual components are regulated. However, whatever the mix is that you're getting and whatever is being compounded to give to you is not regulated. And I'm just not someone who's willing to take a drug like this, or any kind realistically, that has not been FDA regulated. And even that, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the FDA is not really like, I don't really know how to put this. Like, yes, they'll come in and they look at everything to make sure that the manufacturing facility is doing what they say they're doing, and they're testing, and that, you know, they don't have any issues or anything like that. But most of the time, they don't really know how to dig down and look for what they need to be looking for, unless you have someone who has previously worked in manufacturing for pharmaceuticals before, in that specific department. So for me, I worked in pharmaceutical manufacturing, but if I were to go over into my husband's area in quality control, the only thing that I would know to do would be look at, like, what are your operating procedures? Let me watch someone do this to make sure that they're following the operating procedure. Show me like some of your deviations that you've had. Show me some of your CAPAs, which is corrective action, preventative action. What have you put in place? Is it still doing it? You know, I know certain things to ask, but at the same time, I don't really know what to look for as much as my husband would, who has done this his entire career, that could go in and be like, oh, I know that they've got microbial whatever going on. I'm going to go in there and see what they found out in their environmental controls. You know, he is a lot more in tune with the exact manufacturing process, where I was much more operations side, like the computer IT side, the movement of product and where it's going type thing, as far as the planning goes and supply chain goes. And so even though it's FDA regulated, the reason I tell you all every single time that you're doing an injection to look at this and make sure that you don't see any type of particulate in here is for a reason, okay? I've worked in pharmaceutical manufacturing before. We had to have all kinds of experts come in for an IGIV facility that we kept getting particulate in the solution, and we did not know why, okay? You want to make sure that everything looks clear in here, because sometimes when a company like this is being pressured to put things out quickly, you know, shortcuts might be made. The FDA might even sign off on like, hey, okay, you don't have to wait this long in your stability study. Let's just get it going. Let's get it out. Always, always, always check what you're injecting into yourself. If you see bubbles, bubbles are fine. Bubbles are usually just air pockets. But if you see an actual particulate, an actual particle, something that looks funny in there, you need to report it back to the company, to your doctor's office, to your pharmacy, so that they can also report it. The other thing I do want to note to everyone, I say every single time that when you're doing these injections, make sure that you have unlocked this before you hit the button. I've seen people on some of the forums like really upset because they put it to their skin, hit the button, did not unlock it. Then they tried to hurry up and unlock it, and it just spewed out everywhere, and they didn't get it in. So they basically wasted an injection. So I tell you guys things for reasons, just so that you guys know. All right. So we went over what I lost in the past week. We've gone over what I'm doing through shortages, which is basically just sitting and waiting on someone at the FDA to perk up and be like, oh, maybe we should go step in and say, hey, you guys need to fill these prescriptions to people who are currently on it, and stop taking more if you can't meet demand. Yeah, so let's wake up, FDA. All right. Anyways, I'm going to go over next something that I've seen a lot of people dealing with. I myself have dealt with for years already. And so having it also happen on Zepbound is not really a huge thing to me, because I've dealt with this for years and years and years. I'm going to talk about constipation. I have a list of things that I have trialed and kind of like the order that I try them in whenever I'm having a hard time with bowel movements. And I know this is like an icky topic. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but because a lot of people don't like to talk about it, a lot of people really struggle. Right? And then they're trying things that they really shouldn't try that are possibly making it worse. So for instance, if you guys remember, I have SIBO. So that's your small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And there's certain foods, and it's called a Fodmap, Fodmap. There's a Fodmap of foods that you should avoid, or you can be okay to eat, kind of test it in an elimination type thing. But there's a whole list of foods on a FODMAP diet that says, hey, you need to stay away from these because it ferments and it will feed bacteria in your intestines, and then it will make your SIBO worse. So with SIBO, you have your stomach start bloating out. It's very painful. You get constipation. I am actually on antibiotics again for it right now because I am very bloated right now, and kind of hurting. And I know for a fact that it is because I had something that had both onions and garlic in it, and I should not have had those. I knew I should not have had them. I did it anyway. No good. No good for me. So there's a lot of doctors that will just say when they hear someone has constipation, oh, just take a fiber supplement. Take a prebiotic, take a probiotic, whatever, what have you. However, a lot of the fiber supplements, when you look into the ingredients of them, a lot of them that I've tried in the past, before I knew that I had SIBO, had psyllium husk in it, had inulin in it, things that you're not supposed to have on a SIBO diet because it can affect that bacterial overgrowth. And so I kind of cut out all of my different fiber supplements. When I was pregnant, I was given, I think it was called Miralax. I've tried Metamucil. I've tried, like I said, the psyllium husk things, which there's multiple ones that you're going to see like on TikTok and places like that they're like, oh, I took this and then I lost 30 pounds. Yeah, whatever. There's Mirafiber, Metamucil, Citruscell, I believe it's called. I said Benefiber. A lot of these also have high volumes of vitamin B in them. I am also allergic to B12, B complex. Like I basically break out in hives and like under the skin welts anytime I have had a vitamin B12 supplement, and then I have to go on an antibiotic. So for me personally, a lot of those fiber supplements are just a no-go. They made things worse for me. They made things like bulkier and then just sitting instead of moving. And so a lot of times when you hear fiber, you're just thinking, oh, okay, I need to go have some oat bran, something like, or a piece of wheat toast. And there's two different types of fiber. There's soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. And this is where it gets a little confusing for people because soluble fiber can be, for diarrhea or constipation. It can kind of do both. Those are things that will dissolve in water. It's soluble, right? It can, lower your blood sugar, lower your cholesterol. It can help move things through your gut because it kind of makes like this, like liquid, like a gooey liquid, right? And so then on the other side, you have insoluble fiber, which is basically most of the time said for overall bowel health and to treat constipation in general. And that's where you're looking at like, your whole wheat, some peas, some beans, some nuts, some raw vegetables. And that's what a lot of people normally think of when they're thinking fiber, like, oh, I'll just go eat some raw vegetables. However, for me personally, having SIBO and having to follow a FODMAP diet, a lot of those beans, lentils, nuts, vegetables are things that I cannot have because it's going to make my SIBO worse, which is then in turn going to make my constipation worse. So constipation is very, very, very individualized, okay? So while you might be able to go eat some raw carrots or a banana or some strawberries or some nuts or some beans or chia seeds or flaxseed or whatever it is, maybe even some yogurt, and get things to move. Some people, that is not going to work for. Or you might be able to go take a Miralax or go take a Benefiber, and you have no issues with inulin, or you have no issues with psyllium husk, and then that's going to help things move for you. However, for me, who I already have a small intestinal disorder where it wants to basically have things sit there longer and ferment and just stay, a lot of those things that are supposed to help things move don't help things move for me. They actually make it worse. And so I see a GI specialist, and she even initially said, oh, I'm going to, prescribe you like one of these fiber things. And I kind of looked at her and I said, am I allowed to take those when I have SIBO? And then she laughed and she goes, oh, wait. Okay, maybe we're gonna try it with food for a little bit first, and then we'll circle back to that. So a lot of times you have to kind of trial and error things on your own. So here is my list of trial and error things that I've done, and I'm also going to link down below. This is like from the Harvard Medical. There's another one that I've used in the past as well that I will link both of them below, that's like different remedies for constipation. Because here's the thing, I already take Linzess for constipation that is supposed to stimulate everything, the peristalsis, to get it to move. However, on Zepbound, constipation, also diarrhea, are known kind of side effects, right? And so I know that I'm going to have to end up talking to my GI specialist about if I need to move up in the Linzess, or, is there something different I want to try if I keep getting constipation like I've been getting. So here's some things that I try. And some of these, you guys are going to look at me and roll your eyes and say, well, duh. I mean, everybody knows that. But here's the thing. Don't just think that you can throw a fiber supplement or that you can throw a prebiotic, probiotic, or anything like that at it and it's going to like do it for you, because it did not do it for me. It wasn't doing nothing for me but causing more problems. Plus, I don't want to just keep adding things that I'm taking. Like, I don't want to have like a pill for this, an injection for that, an injection for that, and a pill for this. Like, I'm trying to like stay to a few things, right? So number one, drink more water, which I know everybody's rolling their eyes at me going, I drink water all day. I drink enough water. 9 times out of 10, you're actually not drinking enough water. Even though you think you're drinking water all day long, you're probably still not drinking enough water. I know that some doctors will say, hey, you have to get like between, 64 and 84 ounces every day, depending on like your size, your sex, things like that. A lot of professionals will also tell you that you need to drink half of your body weight in water, which if I drank half my body weight in water, I would just be floating out there somewhere. So I try to drink as much as I can. I don't always get there. Another way that you can try to get both water and protein, because having protein on this diet is very important so that you don't lose muscle. Remember, we went over that in a previous week about how you maintain your muscle mass. You can try bone broth. So I have some bone broth packets upstairs by Bare Bones. It's very travel ready, very easy. I drink it with hot water. When I drink it with hot water, I'm getting the protein, and the hot water is also helping things move. My mother also tells me every day, you need to wake up and drink hot lemon water. That's supposed to help move things as well. All of it's water. Coffee, decaf, counts as water. Unsweet tea also counts as water. There's different ways to try to figure in to get water. My favorite is to basically just do the hot water with bone broth, hot water with lemon, or drink just my giant, you guys saw my giant BrewMate cup every other time. I forgot it upstairs. I'm drinking water all day long. Water is going to help it. Walking, number 2, walking exercise is going to help movement of your intestines. A lot of studies will show that walking right after you eat is really going to help the most. So if you're trying to get all your steps in or trying to get more exercise in, what you might want to just start telling yourself is immediately after you eat that you're going to go walk for 20 minutes. And then that's going to also stimulate everything in your body to process. Now, part of Zepbound and Tirzepatide is that it slows down your digestive system. So it's keeping it there so that you feel full, you don't want to eat, you don't have food noise, you're not thinking about it. And so it's going to sit for a little bit. But I think that a good thing to do is just say, hey, every time I eat, I'm going to go walk for 20 minutes, or I'm going to go get a Swiffer and walk around my house for 20 minutes and just Swiffer everything so that I'm moving. It doesn't have to be, like high intensity exercise. You don't have to go get on your Peloton bike. You don't have to go for a run unless those are things that you really want to do. The next thing is that I've been doing lately, and I've really liked it. I add an aloe vera drink into my water. And I don't add like the whole thing in there. I'll put, like a little bit in there, just enough to where it's basically coating and making things easier to glide through. That has been my favorite. You can get aloe vera drinks at any grocery store. You can get them at the Dollar Tree. I got some that were a pineapple flavor at the Dollar Tree. They're absolutely fabulous. If the aloe vera in your drink is not kind of making things move better, a lot of people will also put chia seeds into things like their oatmeal, their smoothies. If you make like a banana protein chia seed smoothie, that can also help. Those chia seeds basically just create like this gel-like bubble around them, and then that kind of fiber, that jelly type fiber, really kind of helps move everything along once it does get into your digestive system. Another thing that you can try if you don't want to do any of that is I used to take Colace. When I was pregnant, I had to take Colace. That basically just keeps everything super soft, almost like liquidy as it comes out. I will say with the aloe vera, I feel like everything comes out and like smoothly, no issues, and like minimal anything on you. Like we've got Tushy bidets at my house, and I also have the Tushy like stool underneath that puts your feet up to the correct height that it needs to be at so that you're going. I know they also have things like what do they call it? Squatty potties is what my GI specialist told me to make sure that I had at every single toilet, because you do need kind of that lift to get at the right angle. I personally like the Tushy one because we also have the Tushy bidets. But with the aloe vera and also chia seeds, because it creates that kind of like gel like that just kind of moves and comes right out, there's minimal like mess, if that makes sense to you guys. I don't want to get too much into that. Another thing you can try is a massage. A lot of times a massage, even if you're not comfortable with someone massaging your stomach, you can kind of rub on your stomach yourself. I've also gone over the fascia blasters, which I'm going to cover more next week, because next week I'm going to go over like the different skincare, like firming gels, different things that you can do, because as you're losing weight, your skin's going to kind of start maybe looking saggy or dimply or different. So I'll go over that next week. But you can also use those fascia blasters on your stomach, on your lower stomach, like kind of all around. It will kind of like jiggle everything in there and move it around a little bit too, just like a massage would. If that does not work, because I'm progressing on, if none of this works, you can also take a warm Epsom salt bath. I personally really like to do that. I will even kind of like turn over in the bath to make sure that like my whole stomach area is sitting in that Epsom salt like warm bath for a while. A lot of times that will kind of help move things as well, just because of the salt that is in the tub. You can also add in magnesium supplements. Now, I've seen a lot of back and forth between people about whether or not you should take a magnesium supplement while you're on these drugs. I personally still take a magnesium supplement. I'll put the one that I take up right over here. I've taken multiple over the years. One of my friends from New York sent me a list of all the different types of magnesium and then what they're good for. Because when I was telling her, she's a nurse, when I was telling her kind of like what I was feeling, what I was going through, she's like, it sounds like you need magnesium. Like nobody ever gets enough magnesium. It sounds like you need this magnesium, this magnesium. I'm like, I don't know the difference between all these magnesiums. So she sent me the chart, and I went over that, and I was taking like a bunch of different ones, different time of the day, but now I just take this one that is basically kind of everything in one for the magnesium supplement. Another thing that I did look up, and I have not tried this one, just so that you guys know, is castor oil. Now, it does say that if you're going to use castor oil, ingesting it, that you do need to be under supervision of a medical professional and let them know that you're doing it. I believe it was like a tablespoon of castor oil. I am using castor oil on my skin to see how that does right now. So I thought it was interesting that castor oil could also potentially have benefits when ingesting it like that as well. And I know castor oil has been around for decades, because even my grandmother told me that when I was trying to grow my eyelashes or my eyebrows out, that I should put castor oil on them, that would do the trick, which it actually did really well, just so you guys know. But castor oil, I'm really looking into more of the benefits for my skin and putting it across anywhere that I feel inflammation or any kind of swelling. So I'll cover more of that next week and kind of the results from that. So this last week I had a lot of constipation just because I was traveling, and anytime I get on a plane and then I come home, this whole list that I've been going through with you all is typically what I have to do to try to get like back on schedule, and like back to like a normal, like, okay, I've got bowel movements going. But I did have to drink a magnesium citrate liquid. It's a saline liquid, like clear little bottle. I did have to drink about half of one. It did not work immediately. It did not work until after, I think, like 36 hours. It was the next day and then that night. And I kind of chalk that up to the fact that, again, the Zepbound is making things sit in your stomach, sit in your digestive system longer. And so maybe it was just sitting in my digestive system longer, which is probably why some people are saying, like, hey, you don't want to take a magnesium supplement or magnesium, things like that, citrate when you're on this, because it can sit in one location too long. I'll be honest with y'all, I do not know the full like back and forth and reasoning of taking magnesium on Tirzepatide versus not taking magnesium on Tirzepatide. I will try to find some articles if I can, and I'll put them up over here and also down below if I find some before I post this video. The final thing that you can try if you still just are not going and it has been multiple days is there is a glycerin like suppository or like small enema that you can use, and there are home enemas as well. I'm going to tell you guys a little story that's pretty embarrassing. I had to go for a colonoscopy when they were trying to figure out what's going on with my digestive system before I got diagnosed with SIBO. And they were just trying to figure out why are you bloating like this? Why is there a blockage? What's going on? I took all of the Sutabs. I threw up part of the Sutabs. I did not get everything cleared out, and I told them, like, hey, I don't think everything is cleared out. I feel like things are still like just sitting. Before they started trying to do my colonoscopy, they could not do the colonoscopy, literally just turned around and sent me home after they did the endoscopy and told me I was going to have to try again and come back. And I was not very happy about that, and I told them, I'm not coming back. This was your shot and you lost it. I've had MRIs, I've had CT scans. Now that, when they started doing this, I'm like, isn't there like some other kind of test that we can do before we just jump into a colonoscopy? Because I don't really know anybody that's like, yay, colonoscopy. But if you do, good for you. I'm not that person. So I ended up in the ER 6 days later, because I still had not gone to the bathroom after 6 days after the attempted colonoscopy, which I had not eaten anything or drank anything other than having the Sutabs and clear foods and liquids. I think it was either 24 or 48 hours before I did the attempted colonoscopy. I ended up in the ER. My ER doctor was extremely angry that I was there and basically was like yelling that specialists aren't doing their job anymore, that there was no way that I should have ever left their facility without them administering an enema to get things cleared out. And he also said they should have done an enema to proceed with the colonoscopy that same day, instead of just sending me home bloated, still full of everything and in pain. When I went, my entire right side from here all the way down, which is where the large intestine, I'll put up a thing over here, the small intestine goes into the large intestine. Everything was just sitting right there. It looked like a giant Subway sandwich. Which is also why I was getting SIBO, because that kind of flap between the small intestine and large intestine was kind of being pushed. There's pressure there, and then that bacteria from the large intestine can come into the small intestine. So I had to have an enema at the ER, which is one of the most embarrassing moments of my entire life. I was not happy about it. The nurse having to do it was not thrilled about it either. The doctor was not thrilled about it. So you can get enemas at home, and I do suggest doing the at-home enema instead of ending up in an ER after you've not been able to go to the bathroom for over a week and you basically just need help. The good news was they did not find any blockages. It's just things were not moving, things were just sitting, and they're not really sure why. So I still have not had a full colonoscopy for them to go in and like try to figure out why. I don't know that I will. I might later down the road if it really becomes a problem, because then after all of this happened, I switched GI specialists, and my new GI specialist did blood work, stool work, a breath test, all of the things to try to figure out like, hey, do you have an infection in there? Is there like a certain bacteria growing? Do you have SIBO with the breath test? She did a lot of blood tests as well for like different types of cancers. I had the full CT scan to see so she could see there were no blockages, and that's when I got put on Linzess, which is to help move everything in that peristalsis to help everything move throughout the intestines. However, now that I am on Zepbound, I'm noticing that my Linzess is not working as great as it was before I was on the Zepbound. So Linzess was making it to where I was going every single day, which I have never been able to go every single day since I was probably a teenager. And now that I'm on the Zepbound, it's not every single day. So I'm back to having to go through my full list of things to try and like figure out, okay, what's going to simulate a bowel movement for me today. And most of the time I can drink enough water, I can walk, I can get that aloe vera. And then once I get to like that, hot Epsom salt bath or like massage type stage, that's when things will start moving for me. So I don't often have to work my way all the way through my list of remedies, but sometimes I do. And so I do have that, both the glycerin and an at-home enema in the linen closet in my bathroom for just in case, for those specific reasons. So if you're experiencing constipation right now, what my suggestion to all of you would be is to look at what foods you're eating. Are you eating possible sources of fiber that could be fermenting or causing bloating in your stomach that's slowing things down further? For me personally, on a SIBO diet, the best things for me to eat are a banana, are nuts, are raw carrots, strawberries, and I can have a sourdough, like the spelt sourdough bread, as long as there's no wheat or gluten additives to it. I can do a sourdough sometimes as well. I have also done chia seeds before as well. But so far, as far as like movement and things like that, I try to make sure that I'm always eating those things along with my high protein diet, because a high protein diet is going to kind of like stop things up as it is. So you do want to make sure that you're not just like eating the protein to just sit, right? You want to make sure that you're having other things that can kind of help that protein move through your bowels. Okay, I'm going to do my week 8 injection, and I'm hoping that this is not my last injection for a while. Even if I do not have my next injection next week I am going to be covering different types of lotions, creams, solutions that I'm using on my skin, because as I told you all, I'm losing in my arms, I'm losing in my waist, I'm losing in my hips and my legs as well. And so I'm noticing that my skin is kind of doing that thing where it like will kind of start getting looser. And so I'm trying to find ways to kind of tighten that back up. So next week, I'm going to go through all the different products that I have used so far. I will probably rate them for you all as well, as far as like, hey, I tried this one, it was okay, it did this, this one has been my favorite, just so that you guys get a good sense around that as well. Because as you're losing weight, you do want to make sure that you are using something on your skin to help with the elasticity, to help with like the dimpling, to help with kind of sagging. Now, that being said, I do have like a skin fold that hangs. That hanging is going to get worse. There's not really a whole lot you can do for that outside of, surgery and having it removed, but I will cover the things that I do that I have found at least help somewhat in my case. So I will do my injection. So let's get started. All right, I've had really great results so far in my legs. So I'm going to continue with my legs. I do not have my ice pack today. It is still upstairs. So I'm going to do this without my ice pack and just see how that goes. But I'm going to be injecting right here into my left leg today. Again, you do want to make sure that you are cleaning with an alcohol wipe before you get started, and then also let that fully dry before you inject so that it does not sting. Always make sure that you have it unlocked before you ever head towards your skin. You're going to take that gray cap off of the end. Again, this is my week 8 of 5 milligram. And so I'm going to go right there where I was just cleaning, which is right here. I'm going to push down with it fully unlocked and go ahead and inject. And see, you're just waiting for 1 and then 2 clicks. And not much today, not much blood and or liquid, so I'm just going to wipe that away and I'm good to go. Always make sure that you're also putting your sharps back into a sharps container. I always put my gray lid back on here. It's not necessary that you do that. That's just me. I then also, if I can, it will not let me lock it back once it is unlocked and used. So that's interesting. Some of my others, they would. So make sure that you put this into a sharps container, and then your sharps container will have directions on where it needs to be sent to send it off so that you don't have it just sitting in your house. Okay, so again, this is my week 8. That was my week 8 injection and my fourth injection of my 5 milligram. I am hoping that I figure out where to find some and this shortage ends. Again, I will still do a video next week on the different skin solutions and skincare that I'm doing as far as loose skin going. I do need to get back into a better routine since I've been on vacations of working out. I was walking at Disney last week, and then this week I'm turning around and going to the Masters at Augusta National, and I'm going to be walking there as well. So these massive amounts of walking have been what I've been doing lately, but I need to get back into the weights that I was doing with the Weight Watchers. So I'm probably going to lift weights this evening and possibly ride my bike before I leave and go on my trip. So I will see you all next week. Again, if you are not currently subscribed to my channel, make sure that you tap that subscribe button, and then you can also tap that handy dandy bell up there, and it'll let you know each time I post a new video like this. Again, I am not a medical professional. This is my personal journey on the medication and things that I am going through, things that I am researching, things that I am trying, and things that I am doing. As always, please consult your own medical professional before you start any kind of new routine or try anything different than what you are currently doing. And I will see you guys on my week 9 and hopefully my next injection. I really hope that they get the shortages figured out, but I'll see y'all next time. Bye y'all.